Okay, guys, so we're going to go over some basics on how to create characters in Designer. So we're going to make both a cartoon character um, and some letter characters so that we have some practice for our Google Doodle. So, of course, we're going to start with a new screen. So you're going to go File, New. We're going to do a wide one so you can turn off portrait so you get a long version of paper rather than a tall. So, remember for the most part, you should be able to use shapes to make most of what you need for a character. You shouldn't have to draw too much. Really, the only thing that you need to possibly draw is hair. But you can cheat a lot of hairstyles with what we have as well. So, remember, your circle tool is probably going to be your best friend during most of this. So, for the most part, you're going to be using circles to create the basics of it and making the appropriate colors. So let's make my skin color. No, that's a little bit too dark for me. No, human colors. Oh, that's close enough. So I'm going to start with just a basic shape. Close enough. Brownish. And of course, then you can start making eyes. All of this is just basics of layering. And you can see we've already got the basics of an eye and a face. Now, one thing you're going to watch out for is that you want to make things even. If I hand draw another eye, notice that these aren't going to be exactly the same. They're going to be slightly different, and that's going to look super weird. Why? Because usually human eyes aren't the same size, same shape. So make sure that not only are you copying and pasting, but grouping. So I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to group, make sure that they stay together. And then I can just right-click, copy, right-click, paste. And I've got two exactly same eyes. This is really important for the eyes because you also want them to be facing the same direction. Because obviously if eyes aren't facing the same direction, it looks a little bit weird. So copy and paste your eyes so that you get exactly the same and they're looking at exactly the same place. For added realism, you could add an extra layer to it by adding eyelids. You don't want exactly the same color. Eyelids are just squares drawn on top. And you just draw it into your group there. So I put it inside. You'll notice I've got the basics of an eye there. Now rather than trying to do that again, I'm just going to copy and paste it. And there we go.
That looks so cool.
Yeah. So things to remember, you can tilt things to change how things look. So notice you can make someone look angry. Sad would be tilting the opposite way. But remember, adjust your eyes so that they're facing roughly the same direction. And remember, if you want your irises to go out, drag it inside the object. Notice I'm dragging it inside, and you'll notice now my irises, or is it pupil or an iris? I don't remember. Pupil. You can drag them, drop them towards, you can drag them off when you've got it dragged in. So we've got the basics of a nice emotional face there. You can also add different things. One thing I like to do is add in shines, which is just a little white circle in the black to identify where the light's coming from. And you'll notice that gives it a little bit more expression. Even something as simple as that does add to the character. From there, you can, of course, add mouth. Notice straight mouth, probably not the best one to use. Easiest thing to do, of course, if you want to do a curve, use your pen tool. So you get a more unique looking mouth. But if you want a wider smile, you can, of course, use that crescent tool that we have. Aww. And now he's sad. Aw. That's what I look like every morning when I look in the mirror. Wait, let me add a tear. Then that's complete. Aww. And of course, remember, you can double-click objects to get different options. So if I want to make the mouth thinner, if I want to bring this down a little bit more, I can. Of course, you can also inverse it and get a smile. Facial hair would be kind of hard. Usually that would just be lots of little dots. Depends on what you're trying to go for. Let me see. I don't think they have a stipple brush on here. But if I want to do something like facial hair, that would be a lot tougher. That would just be me essentially taking a pen and copy pasting a bunch of dots. Actually, it'd probably be better to use. I'm going to zoom in a lot. And let me inverse that and get rid of that outline. So notice I have one little dot. Let me make sure it's even though. A little tiny dot. And I just copy and paste and group it. Can you give me a second? I'm showing facial hair first because someone asked. But So this takes a little bit to get started, but once you've got certain groups, notice I'm just grouping things again and then pasting. So as I create more, it gets easier to make larger groups. So every time I paste, I group it with the last group. Wait, I don't have them all grouped, do I? Thought I did. Where's the rest of my group? Oh, there it is. Make sure you've got everything grouped, and then copy and paste, and you'll get larger and larger amounts of them. Why am I missing some still? You guys see where my other groups are? I feel like I'm missing some. Are they at the bottom? Wait, what are these in? Oh, they're in here. How did you get locked into here? Sorry, let me drag it out of this group. And let me group all that. And then copy and paste. You'll notice it takes a little bit to start up, but you can keep on doing this until you have a fairly large amount of hair to paste around. Yeah. So hair is a little bit more, or facial hair is a little bit more difficult than other things, but once you get started, it starts to quickly get bigger and better as you go along. At this point, I can probably do large sections of my face with facial hair. Let me group this. Let me group all of this. Copy, paste. Oops. And that. And then you just keep on going until it starts looking a little bit more like facial hair, rather than some kind of disease or dirt. So stubble and facial hair are kind of hard. But if you want to do that. Someone asked about actual hair on top of your head. So a couple different ways you can handle that. So, of course, we can use shapes. You can, of course, do something like, if you guys know Armani, you can do Armani hair. Armani Collins. That could be the kid from Hey Arnold, but you can also do...
Armani's hair is really easy.
Yeah, Armani's hair is pretty easy. The one thing that you're going to want to do is give yourself a rough edge on there, so it looks more like hair. So I'm just going to go in, give it a little bit of a rough edge, and then you can go in and change corners. Actually, I'm going to use the corner tool on that. So one thing we haven't covered, you can change the corner of objects with this tool right here, the corner tool. When you've got that selected, you can round out corners a little bit. So you can give yourself more of a natural edge. And then if you want to attach it to his head a little bit better, you can just take a crescent tool to give it a curve at the bottom. So let me see if I can match this up so it looks more natural. Oops. Now the one thing you want to do while this is happening, you do want to start grouping things so that you have fewer and fewer things going around your screen. So I'm going to start grouping his face so that I am, because you'll notice I'm accidentally clicking a lot of things I shouldn't be. So as you get more and more layers, as your drawing gets more complex, group your stuff so it collapses into one thing. So for instance, now you'll notice I've only got 3 layers. Ooh, I forgot his mouth. I'll group the mouth in there. And now I have much, much simpler things. I've only got 3 layers now. Do that. Group that, and you'll notice that looks more like it's attached to his head now that it's curving. You may want to expand it just a little bit. There we go. So, other hair, a little bit harder. Things that you can do, of course. Let's see me as a blonde. Whoops. I want to reverse that, and I want to take away the outline. So, I can give myself some simple bangs by dragging it into my face. You'll notice I've got so many groups here, it takes a little bit for me to drag it into the right place. That can be used for very, very simple hair. Then if I want to give myself a ponytail, take a teardrop. You'll notice very simple side ponytail. Or if you want to copy and paste, pigtails. And of course, you can also put it behind the head, into it, behind, and that'll be a little bit added realism there. Oh, Dexter's Laboratory? That looks like Dee Dee. Okay. Yep. Second thing, some people are also asking about a nose. 2 different ways that you can do noses. Probably the easiest way is just to draw a simple curve. You can draw a simple curve like that, and that does a nose. Teeth. Teeth would be kind of creepy, but okay. If you want to do teeth, where's your mouth crescent? I wouldn't do it as a lot of squares. I would do teeth, if you want to do teeth, as one giant square. Actually, I just do the fill like that. And then you can just go in and draw some lines. Let me take the stroke down to much thinner. So I just made a simple line, and then I'm just going to make cross lines like that, and then copy and paste them all around so I get the same angle. Again, you're going to want to do copy and paste for things like teeth. Why? Because you want the same angle for all your teeth. Otherwise, you're going to look very weird with different angled teeth. So if you notice, I changed the angle and then your mouth looks kind of messed up a little. So that's super, super, super basic cartoon work. From there, think about body. You could do